Hello, welcome. It's Wednesday, 10th of June 2020. I'm Diane and this is my Flosstube channel where I share my favourite hobby, cross stitch. Thank you for joining me and a big thank you to everybody who subscribed. I really hadn't expected quite so many subscribers already. And also a very big thank you to Raffaella for the shout out you gave me on Instagram. That was quite a surprise. Thank you very much for that. Now, Mania is well and truly over, which means I was able to stitch other things because with Mania I was doing Monogamania, one project, and I did feel at one point that it was Monotomania. Now, I have an FO. Because I could stitch other things in June, I have my gem pots. There we are. Oh, I'm making a mess of it. So if I hold it up, hopefully it will focus on the gem pots and you can see them. Yeah, I had a little bit of a trouble with some of the back stitching. I did this one, didn't like it, did it again and thought, oh well, it's as good as it's going to be. And then when I looked at the picture, there was more back stitching on the cover picture than in the chart. So I restitched it for a third time based on what I could see in the picture, and it's still not exact, but it's good. It's good enough. And my daughter really likes this, and we're going to get it framed hopefully soon, and she can hang that in her kitchen. The other thing, obviously this is what I was doing through Mania, Peace Rose by Thea Gouverneur. I got a little bit more done on it from last time. I think, oh, I finished some of this here and I got some green leaves in there. Yeah, it was lovely to stitch a different colour than just pale yellow and pale pink. That's coming on, but realistically I don't think I'm going to have it finished for August, which is when my mum's birthday is, and it's for her. The other thing that is a whip is this one. This is my, there we are, turn it, St. George by Thea Gouverneur. This is my, is it Leap Day sale. Started it on the 29th of February and I'm aiming to finish it on the next 29th of February. Excuse me. Sorry about this. There we are. I've got this bit down here and it's really lovely to add in some reds. I think if we look at the pattern, I'm just here. No, I'm not, I'm here. Sorry, I'm on that one, next to the Hand of God. That's what those bits of blue there. It's going to be the sort of air bubble with the Hand of God in it. I'm enjoying stitching on that. All those gaps, by the way, I've left those out because those are going to be metallic threads and I'll do those last. Or, yeah, last or between cross stitching and back stitching, something like that. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the metallics in the long term because I am stitching in hand. And then I picked up an old whip. This one, Jardin Prive. It's Patchwork au Chouettes, designed by Nathalie Sichon for Jardin Prive. And I'm stitching it on a sort of khaki coloured 14 count Ada that I had in my stash. It's easier. And what have I got done? I got the branch done, that flower, the owl, the leaves through here, that flower, and I started some of the, what would you call it, fence stitching? I don't know. As you can see on the pattern, there's a lot of lines, everything's in boxes. And then I still have to stitch in the silver watering can and some kind of cord or rope to the tree where the birdhouse is hanging from. I'm really enjoying this stitch. It goes quite fast and it is a lot of fun. yeah, I'm enjoying that one. And I have a new start. It is Popcorn by Graves and Banks. I saw this on a second-hand auction site and thought, oh, that's a cute little round picture. That'll make a nice little card for my parents. Their wedding anniversary is in October, and I always get them a card with teddy bears on it. But yeah, as you can see, it's going to be quite a bit bigger than the card size, so I don't know how I'll do that. But I've started getting the tree done, and yeah, it needs some back stitching on that tree, and then that tree is finished. I had some trouble sorting out the floss with this one. There's about 4 browns, 4 tans, 4 oranges, 4 beiges, a couple of creams, a couple of pale yellows, and then a gold. And I don't trying to figure out a pale tan and a pale orange. I've sorted them out 3 times already, and I realised they're still wrong, so I'm going to be doing that again. I do know the tree is correct though, because there were 5 strands of those colours. Yeah, last time there was something I wanted to show you, but I forgot to bring it with me, and it needs a bit of a backstory, because if you look at it you'll just think, what is she doing? My mum taught me to knit and sew and do embroidery stitches, but cross stitch I learnt at school. And when my mum saw me trying to cross stitch with ordinary thread and ordinary fabric, she frog marched me down to the needlework store to get some proper stuff, and they had nothing. So yeah, it was disappointing. I just continued sewing and knitting. It filled my time. But we went on holiday to Yugoslavia, and everywhere was cross stitch. They lived with cross stitch. There were such wonderful motifs and a lot of use of blue and red, and I loved it. I bought a lot of floss there because it was also quite cheap. And then a couple of weeks ago I saw this on the second-hand auction site. It's in German. It says Yugoslavian Embroidery. It's obviously by DMC, printed in 1956. And I was flipping through it. Look at some of these designs. Aren't they beautiful? If I show them quickly, I don't think you can take a pattern off them. And I looked at some of these and I thought, oh, I recognise a couple of those from when I was a kid in Yugoslavia. So I had to buy it. I just had to buy it, and it cost me €3. It's nostalgic for me. And the other thing I wanted to show you was, find it, an advance chart that I'd been given by Twin Peak Primitives. I'll hold that right up close there. But I had no cover picture, and it's called Purranormal Halloween, and it's sort of Halloween from the cat's point of view. So you've got the cat there, absolutely terrified of the mice, a cat with his ghost costume on, a cat with a bunny costume on, yeah, cat staring at the moon of course, and that one, that's lovely, isn't it? That's a cat fighting with a cucumber. And if you don't know what that's about, if you sort of Google cat and cucumber or do a search on YouTube, you'll see lots of cats freaking out when they see cucumbers. I thought that was adorable, so I will be stitching that one for Halloween. And I did some other things from Twin Peak Primitives. That one I've shown before. That's the Dutch Express. It's based on the American school buses, and they have a whole line of these. The Liberty Express is actually on offer at the moment, 20% off. If you go on their website, it's very clearly marked. The first one I did of theirs was this one. Little Christmas Tree, I think it is. I'm not really sure. Yeah, Little Christmas House. And that's a freebie on their website. And that got me sold on stitching primitive things. Obviously the name, Twin Peak Primitives. Primitive work is their style, but it's with a modern twist. The patterns are very straightforward and easy to follow. They're charted for Ada and in DMC. and the colours they use are a bit more modern and fresh. Obviously, if you prefer hardcore primitive look, you can easily replace them by your fancy flosses. And the other one I finished earlier this year from them, sorry, just a minute, was this one, December in the Netherlands. This I don't think you'll see on their website. Pattern is available, I believe, from at Handwerk Boutique in Roden, and it celebrates St. Nicholas and his helpers. The story is St. Nicholas comes to the Netherlands the end of November with his helpers. He's here for a couple of weeks, tours around, and then on the 5th of November leaves a present for every child. It's similar to Father Christmas or Santa Claus, who has his elves in the North Pole, except that those elves get left behind and these get brought to the Netherlands with him. And it was quite strange stitching this because this is a pink house and there's lilac and purples, but it works. I really like their fresh take on the primitive look, the fresh colours. If you like primitive patterns and you don't know them, it's worth following them on Instagram, because every week there's a pattern goes on offer at 20% off, and that is every week. That's every week this year, every week last year. That's just something they do. And the pattern gets chosen by Pam and Steph, Just Keep Stitching, and they always show the pattern on Sunday, Monday when it gets uploaded. Acquisitions. Been shopping again. Another Thea Gouverneur. Saw this yellow rose, couldn't resist it. Yeah, another one to add into my stash. And then one other thing I wanted to say. A couple of weeks ago, Tex in Stitches. Hello, Tex, if you're watching. I'm afraid I can't remember your name. Left a remark and asked me if I'd heard of Jan Houtman. He's a Dutch designer, or was a Dutch designer, and the name didn't ring any bells. She had seen a Flosstube by Caroline, Off the Grid Needle Arts, where Caroline had shown a chart she'd purchased, and the chart was a combination of from the work of Jan Houtman and Mies Bosch, both are Dutch designers, and they're both passed on now. It's a huge chart that she had, over 50 pages, and that, I guess, is why I never paid much attention to Jan Houtman. 50 pages is beyond my capabilities. I don't think I'm ever going to try that. And then I was tidying up last week, and I found this in my stash. Apparently, I do have a Jan Houtman chart in my stash. Thank goodness this one's only 12 pages. It's called the Tulp Sampler, and Tulp is Dutch for tulip. That's a funny mix of words. So, Tex in Stitches, I should have heard of him, but I didn't. That's all I've got I'm going to show you this week, or this time. If you stayed with me till the end of this Flosstube video, thank you so much for watching all of it. I hope you have a lovely week. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you, and we'll all be better off. Thank you for watching.